Good morning, everybody. Good morning. Good morning. I'd like to call the meeting of November 23rd, 2021 of the Dupage County Board to order. May I ask, please, would member Greg Hart lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance? And then please remain standing after the pledge. Please remain standing. And before we begin our invocation this morning, I ask for a moment of silence, if I may, please. I'd like to turn our prayers and our attention to the victims of that holiday parade tragedy that occurred in Waukesha, Wisconsin. It was a terrible tragedy. Our deepest sympathies go out to the victims and their families. Thank you. May I ask Father Joseph Kopka from the St. Joseph Orthodox Church in Wheaton to lead us in invocation. Father Kopka.
Let us pray. O sovereign and gracious God, accept our prayers and bless the good intentions of these your servants. May they successfully complete their good works for your people without any obstacle, keeping in mind your great mercy. Guide their hands and minds by your power, so that their labors may be peacefully accomplished. Watch over these your servants and protect them in unity and in love. For you are good God and love mankind, and to you be sent of glory, now and forever. Amen.
Amen. Thank you, Father. So before we call the roll, there has been a request to allow remote participation from member Krajewski under 7A of the Open Meetings Act. Pursuant to 7A of the Open Meetings Act, if a quorum of the members of the public body is physically present, as required by Section 2.01, a majority of the public body may allow a member of that body to attend the meeting by other means if the member... There's been a motion and a second. Do we need a roll call, Mr. State's Attorney? Okay. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski. LaPlante.
Aye.
Ozog. Pachowski. Aye. Renahan. Rutledge.
Here.
Schwarzy. People have
Solomon.
started their Thanksgiving
Tornatore.
holiday early.
Zay.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. And Covert. Okay, thank you. Welcome, Mr. Krajewski. With that, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Chaplin.
Here.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Here.
Hart. Krajewski.
Here.
LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Here.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore. And Zay. On the order of Chairman's report, I do have a couple of presentations. On the order of Chairman's report, I do have a couple of presentations, and if I may ask Jim Zay and Sarah Hun, would you please join me up at the podium? And as they make their way up here, I just wanted to offer a couple thoughts. We know that in DuPage County government we have remarkable staff. We know that. They're professionals. We know where they line up with their counterparts. We know where we stand in comparison to other county governments, and we're very, very proud of the talent and the hardworking staff, the dedicated staff that we have here at DuPage County. Today, we welcome the opportunity to congratulate our Director of Stormwater Management, Sarah Hun. She was recently voted the Government Civil Engineer of the Year by the American Society of Engineers for the Illinois section. Illinois has 1,400 municipalities and counties, so Sarah had quite the competition for this award. Our last stormwater director, Tony Charlton, also received this award, just proving that Dupage has excelled in engineering over the years. Congratulations, Sarah, and I'd like to ask Stormwater Management Committee Jim Zay to the podium to say a few words. Jim?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, I couldn't be prouder to congratulate Sarah on this award. She's extremely deserving of it. Which recognizes her accomplishments and contributions to civil engineering throughout the state. It's hard to believe that she's been here 17 years already. She's been involved in construction or update of 8 of our 17 flood control facilities. She's managed a budget of $50 million in capital from our grant funds. Also, she was awarded the, can you believe it? She's older now. She was awarded the Young Government Engineer of the Year in her career, and there's only 3 of those in the state. One of them is Sarah, the other one was Tony Charlton, who got both, and some other person who's probably not even in engineering anymore because of the competition. But again, I want to congratulate Sarah, and I think we know Sarah does so much more here at the county than just stormwater. She was big on our vaccine program, working with people. Every time there is a project, it seems like, unfortunately, her office is too close to Nick's, so when Nick needs someone to run a project and be the point on it, he just walks across and gets Sarah. But she's been big on, obviously, our compensation for our employees. She took a lead on that with the other department heads. And again, she does so much for our county, and we couldn't be more proud of Sarah. And congratulations on your award.
Thank you so much. That's absolutely awesome, and I appreciate it. I'd like to start by thanking Chairman Cronin and the entire county board. We've done a lot of great things this year as a county, and prioritizing and supporting staff to improve service longevity is simply incredible. And secondly, of course, I'd like to thank Committee Chairman Jim Zay. Chairman Zay is well known for his hands-on approach with everything, and with this approach, he's shown to be a true leader to myself and our entire department. During our major storm events, it's well known that Jim will be out there on location with his stormwater yellow jacket, working side by side with staff. I don't actually know if Chairman Zay knows how important that is to all of us to actually have our leadership out there with us, but it really is great to know that we have such support from the top. And of course, next, I'd like to thank my peer directors. Chairman Zay mentioned that myself and previous director Tony Charlton both received this award. Nick has also received an award from ASCE in the past. And actually, just to prove that we do have the greatest engineers here at the county, there have been 8 times the county staff or engineers have been recognized by the American Society of Civil Engineers for Government Engineering. It's truly incredible what the county board has done to foster such growth in our staff. And so I'd like to thank all of my peer directors. We've had a lot thrown at us, and working as a team and supporting each other, we've had a lot recognized. Jim mentioned it. I work a lot. Nick doesn't even have to walk over. He's tall enough he can look over and see my office. I've developed great friendships with Christopher Snyder and Mary Keating on some of the teams that we've put together to really get a lot done to help support all of the staff at the county. So that's been great. And finally, and quite honestly, most importantly, this award has my name on it, but I accept this award on behalf of the Stormwater Management Department. We have the best staff from top to bottom, and more than a department, we are a family. And so thank you for this humbling recognition. I look forward to many great things to come.
Moving right along, we have another presentation. We have a special guest here today. I see Leanne Redden right there from the RTA, and I'm so pleased to welcome Leanne, the Executive Director of the Regional Transportation or Regional Transit Authority. and she is here to present their annual budget. We're very eager to hear about their recovery plans and some of the challenges that she has been able to navigate through during this pandemic. So let's welcome Leanne, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, Chairman. Remove this, it's a little easier to talk. Bit stressed that I'm the special guest. That's high billing for presenting a budget. But thanks, everybody. Glad to be here. As Chairman Cronin said, I'm Leanne Redden. I'm the Executive Director of the Regional Transportation Authority. I know when we talked last year, it was virtual. And I think, at least we're back kind of physically present this year. But I think we'd all hoped by this time, thinking about it last year, by this time this year, we thought we'd be sort of really back to normal. And I think we're not there yet. There will probably never be the old normal. I think it will at best be a new normal. And I just want to kind of touch on a little bit about that here today. So the RTA is proud to report that throughout this very universally disruptive pandemic, CTA, Metra, and PACE, known to us as our service boards, have, through their staffs, really provided safe, reliable transit service and met dramatically shifting customer needs and innovated their across the system-wide to really create a system of COVID prevention as they move forward. Our system was there to meet the needs of those who public transportation is a necessity, our elderly, essential workers, communities of colour, and people experiencing low incomes. We must commit as a regional community that public transportation will continue to be there for them and all riders into the foreseeable future, and that we will be challenged, especially as we look at some of these near-term stability issues that we are facing. But we have really been buoyed by the influx of the federal relief dollars, and I'll touch on that in a second. Overall, though, in terms of the budget, the 2022 Regional Transit Operating Budget totals $3.4 billion, an increase of 4.6% over the financial plans for 22 that were adopted pre-COVID. So we're comparing to pre-COVID because it's really not an easy comparison to make 21 threw everything out of whack, but I don't have to explain that to you. The 6-county proposed 5-year capital program totals $5.3 billion. It's a little bit less than the previous 5-year program, and that is simply because we were able to program the last of the Rebuild Illinois state infrastructure program into the 5-year program and wrapped all that up. The projects still have to be delivered, but the dollars were programmed in all of last year. All three, and including our regional operating budgets and capital budgets of the 3 service boards, are all available on our website if you wanted to consult those in more detail. On November 18, we did have the 3 service board executive directors and their staff come in and present to the RTA Board of Directors. The budgets are now all subject to public comment, and we will wrap that up basically with a virtual public hearing on December 1st, and then close out everything hopefully with our board approving, the RTA board approving the regional budgets on December 16. And I do send my regrets for Director Andolcio, David Andolcio, who is your representative on the RTA board. He could not join us today. He had a previous work commitment, so set me here on my own, but that's okay. But he sends his regards. This year, the operating budget is in large part made possible by the 3 federal relief packages, as I mentioned, that have really kept the system running in the face of severe ridership losses and fare box revenue declines. Ridership across all 3, although different across all 3 of the operators, is still down about 50%, so we are still struggling in that space. Over the past 2 years, the RTA has worked diligently to distribute approximately $3.4 billion in federal relief funds to the 3 service operators to make up for that lost public funding on the operating revenue side. More than $2 billion of that money is going to the CTA. More than $1 billion is going to Metra, and just about $250 million is going to PACE. This funding has brought the service boards up to their pre-pandemic operating levels of funding and really allowed them to sort of close that gap and get them through in terms of stable operating outlook through 2025. We're in a unique situation that the pandemic has also brought upon us. The decrease in fare revenue but marrying that with a better than expected sales tax recovery, it has created what we're sort of referring to as either a math problem or really an asymmetry in our regional funding model. And the funding model really aims to balance sort of that collection of fares and public revenues to make sure everybody sort of has, as I refer to as, some skin in the game, to cover the service board's operating expenses. And because of the sales tax, we have to have a 50% recovery ratio, fare box recovery ratio, but because fare revenues are so down and sales tax revenues are high, it's hard to make that math actually work. It's not necessarily the worst problem to have, but it's sort of a statutory issue we have. But we did take full advantage of the veto session with the General Assembly, and we're able to swiftly seek and gain temporary relief on this fare box recovery ratio requirements for the next 3 years as we look to continue to recover from the pandemic. So much of what I've been describing really grew out of our 3-step COVID recovery strategy. The first 2 steps, which were for us to budget realistically in this time of crisis and sustain regional public transit through this great time of uncertainty. We have accomplished the first 2 steps, I think, transparently and collaboratively with the RTA, CTA, Metra, and PACE all working in common purposes. And really with a series of both board meetings and other public discussions that we've had as we've had to make very difficult decisions. We now are embarking on our 3rd step of that recovery effort, and that's really crafting a new regional strategic plan that is required by law and integrating that vision with a future for public transit, a new future for public transit with a 10-year financial outlook and plan that we believe is essentially required by stewardship. And the timing couldn't be, better for us given the historic passage just the other week of the infrastructure bill that really gives us more ability to take on big challenges before us. And I'm heartened by it because the federal government could, have looked at what was happening in public transportation across the country and decided maybe to even walk away from it. But instead, they doubled down with the largest investment in our transit history. And our region will, I think really for our region, it's really going to mean a lot. It will be more than $1 billion coming, actually it'll be about 1.3 billion as a floor coming into our region over the next 5 years above the 2.3 or so that comes in through regular formula dollars. Additionally, there's billions of competitive discretionary fund programs that the 3 operators will be able to go after. We don't have all those numbers exactly yet. The Fed's still trying to catch up to all of this and kind of give us a lot more programmatic information, but there will be a lot more ahead. But it really puts us in a well-poised position as we look at the strategic plan. So if we can pull up just the next slide, and I'll just run through this very, very briefly. We will continue transparently and collaboratively with the RTA board, with the leadership in this room, and the service boards and our civic organizations and all interested parties throughout our region as we look to develop this strategic plan. We are currently identifying what priorities must be considered in making a strategic operational and capital plan for the future that will adequately serve our region and its people. These priorities will really guide the development of that plan through 2022. This engagement process that we're in right now, we're really in full swing of this, and I encourage all of you to sign up for the regional transit update via the RTA homepage, so you will stay up to date on these opportunities. And actually, Cheryl just told me that these updates that we send out, I believe she's forwarding them on to you as well, so hopefully you have a few minutes in looking through your busy inboxes to take a look at that. But it will keep you posted as we get further into the plan development. It'll also highlight further engagement opportunities that we are going to have in the coming year, and help us spread the word to your constituencies as well, so we make sure we are hearing from everybody. The opportunities for input will continue through 22, as I said, with a variety of chances for all interested parties to lend their insights and guidance and wisdom as we look to develop this plan. In early 23, the integrated plan, strategic plan and financial vision after full public engagement will be presented to the RTA board for consideration. It'll have a 5-year outlook window, so it'll really help us continue to guide us as we recover from the pandemic. This is a time, I think, though, for remembering and acting on why our public transit system exists and who it serves, and for asking who needs transit and how they'll use it. This is also an irreplaceable regional mobility system that contributes economically and environmentally, and enables opportunities in ways and at a scale at which nothing else can. So this is a good time, I think, for all of us to be bold and decisive in our actions. And our region has demonstrated repeatedly that if we do come together, we can accomplish great things and work towards sort of bolstering and expanding and enhancing the transit system in our region. I thank you for your generous attention. I'd be happy to answer any other questions that you might have.
Okay, thank you. Questions? Questions from board members? Member Renahan.
Thank you for your presentation. I love what you're saying about infrastructure and finding new solutions and that kind of thing. Just wondering, I know we've lost a number of routes, PACE routes in particular, some of our low-income communities. What does it look like horizon-wise in terms of maybe, are some of those going to be coming back, or what can you tell us?
Did PACE already present to you, or are they coming up at your next meeting, perhaps? In December, yeah. We're a little ahead of schedule. Sometimes we're all together, so I didn't. What you will hear from PACE is that they will be bringing back service, but it may not look exactly the same. They've actually taken the opportunity to look at where the needs are, where the ridership opportunities are, and are looking to create more creative and flexible services that are actually more responsive to what the demand is out there. Very much focused on equity and access to people that need public transportation for access to jobs, healthcare, and other needs. So you may not see the exact same routes come back. Some of those were not necessarily performing so well. And, you know, one of the things that all three operators are looking to do is sort of, some of the lessons we all learned from COVID was to sort of pivot and be creative and flexible. And they are certainly planning to continue that as they look to bring back services and adjust as we need going forward. So I think you will see some changes. They are looking at more demand responsive, smaller buses, more flexible routes, that kind of thing as well.
Further questions? Member DeCiani?
Yeah, on the PACE side of things, we've got the ride Dupage, and I was actually advocating for a constituent the other day, and I'm told that, you know, oftentimes our constituents are challenged. They're blind, they might be on dialysis, et cetera, and they might need help to the vehicle and from the vehicle back to where they're coming from. I'm told that PACE is not doing that, and I'm wondering if there's a way we can try to help these people more and advocate so that we can accommodate those challenges. Because typically if they're calling for a ride, they can't drive and they're impaired in some way. So I'm just curious if there's anything we can do to help those situations.
Absolutely, and thank you, my escort into the building this morning. Finding my way in a different way. So PACE has a couple of services that they provide. There's the ADA paratransit services, which is probably the higher end level of service in terms of supporting riders in terms of physical and other needs that they may have. PACE is also looking to pilot more partnerships with Uber and Lyft and creating more flexible services in a much cheaper cost provision than some of the other more traditional types of options. So they have a whole host of collections of service provisions that they are looking to either continue and or pilot in the coming year or so. I think if you have specific concerns with some constituencies, we're also working with the county right now and the DOT on a countywide, on revamping a more broad countywide mobility strategy. So they'll be planning in and around very specific things for meeting Dupage's needs. We're also funding several community-based, the Ride in Dupage, as well as other community-based services in the region. So I think that complement of things, part of the challenge is also making sure people have the information to know what the resources are available to them. If you have specific concerns, feel free to reach out to us, because we also at the RTA provide what we call travel training, which can help people with both physical and cognitive disabilities to better understand how to use and access the transit network.
Okay, but my question, is how, can we help them get to and from the building that they're in?
Physically.
Yeah, physically. Just to give assistance so they don't fall, trip, get hurt, etc. That's my question.
That's probably a better question.
And I'm sorry if I put you on the spot.
No, that's okay. It's probably a better question for PACE. I mean,
But so a lot of our townships, we've gotten rid of a lot of our township services, which would do that. And we've gone the right Dupage, which is a great service, and I believe in it. But I think we just need to get that handoff in a better position so we don't put people in an awkward position or make them feel vulnerable.
And I can take that back to PACE too, and
Yep.
maybe they can address it specifically on what their thinking and their planning is around that.
That'd be
when
great.
they come in. Yep.
Thank you.
All right, further questions, Member Chavez?
Thank you so much. I just want to concur with Member DeCiani. I think this is a process that has been brought up by our local townships as well. And I'm wondering if we can focus on some better partnering between the municipalities and the townships and kind of what the plan is in place to help with this issue.
I think that is one of the core things that we're looking to work with the county on in this mobility study. Is there is a whole, I used to work on the municipal side as well, and there's a whole host of collection of even local municipality, local township, and then some, in some respects, countywide services. How do those interface? Sometimes it's actually just sort of scheduling and sharing of services too. So that is one of the core tenets of this analysis that we want to kind of dig into a little bit and kind of find a better plan on how to address some of that.
Great, and I would say if we can reach out to those township chairs, we can, and electeds, we can see how we can really partner with them, because
Yes.
I think at the end of the day, often when the county doesn't step up or our services fall, then they are the ones that have to take on that burden. And I think that it's our responsibility to make sure that that handoff is done well. So
Yes,
if
no,
we
I
can do
think
that, that would be
that's
great.
exactly, and you're not unique. It's across our region. It's a national issue actually. Trying to better connect these services, because there are actually quite a few, but they need to be better coordinated.
Great, thank you.
Further questions? Member Pachowski, were you seeking recognition? Anyone else have a question? Yeah, very good questions. I'm looking forward to the PACE presentation in a couple of weeks. Leanne Redden, thank you very much for the good work you do, and we'll certainly be watching and working with you along the way.
Thank you, Chairman. Thank you both.
Okay. That concludes our presentations. I have a few remarks I'd like to share with you, if I may. So at today's meeting, we have the opportunity to take some very important steps to reinforce and to further improve the already strong financial condition of our county. Today's proposed budget is not only balanced, but it also allows this body to make significant targeted investments in our future. For example, thanks to strong performance in our sales tax returns, we will be able to fully fund the remaining principal and interest on the 2011 and 2015 bond debt service funds. Dollars will be transferred from the general fund using a 2021 surplus in the amount of $6.3 million. As we pay off this debt early, we will subsequently free up $2 million in general fund sales tax revenue in FY 2022 and subsequent years. This fiscally conservative approach is consistent with our brand of governance here in DuPage County. We will clear the books of this bond debt as soon as possible, and we will now have maximum flexibility in the year ahead to meet our obligations, positioning our county for a future that spurs economic growth and recovery. The budget resolutions today also reflect our commitment to public safety, an extremely important mission that we pursue every day, supporting our criminal justice programs and maintaining our social safety net, funding programs and staffing to help those most dramatically impacted by the pandemic. I can proudly report that the proposed budget meets our obligations, clears away debt, and lays a solid fiscal foundation for budgets in future years. I'm also proud of what my budget proposal does not do. It does not raise the property tax rate for the average homeowner. The county portion of the homeowner's tax bills will generally stay the same or go down. My budget does not waste money. Decisions are driven by data and are based on the expectation that we squeeze value from every nickel that we spend. And our FY22 spending plan does not box us in, does not limit us. Should we need to respond to a new wrinkle in public health, safety, or economic recovery needs based on COVID or any other emerging issue, we have the flexibility within our spending plan to be nimble and to take action quickly on behalf of our residents and taxpayers. This has been a team effort. My thanks to our elected officials, to our Finance Committee, members Chaplin and Krajewski, our CFO, Jeff Martinovich, Deputy CFO Jennifer Sin, Nick Kottmeyer, the entire executive staff, senior staff, who all pitched in on various projects to bring this spending plan to life. I really like the collaboration that took place here this year. I think this year, more than any other year that I've been serving in this position, this has been a really, really good, healthy, thorough, collaborative effort. I believe we should all be enormously proud of the product we have here before us, and I ask for your support on the various budget resolutions and ordinances before you today. Thank you. So that concludes my remarks. We move on to the next order of business entitled Public Comment. This is the part of the meeting that we welcome people to come and share their thoughts and views, members of the public. I'm advised that we do not have anyone here in person, but we do have some folks that want to share their thoughts and communicated those thoughts electronically. So we have Evan who's going to read those aloud for us today and make it part of the record. So please proceed.
Good morning, board members. First comment is from Edgar Pal. The subject is Member Selman. I would like to congratulate Member Selman on her recent marriage to her husband. I was delighted to read on her social media page that the wedding took place at the 18th Judicial Circuit Court, a fitting ceremony for a public servant so dedicated to our county. I'm sure that everyone in the community extends our best wishes to the couple, their family, and friends on this joyous occasion. That is the end of that comment.
Very nice.
Next comment comes from Earl Wright. The subject is Christmas parade killings. Comment reads, does Mary Lemansky speak for Dupage County or the board? She owes a lot of people an apology, and you people need to put out a public statement. What an absolutely disgusting human being Mary is. That is the end of that comment. Last comment is from Cameron Day. The subject is AFSCME negotiations at Dupage County Correctional Center. Comment reads, I send this comment on behalf of the members of AFSCME at Dupage County Correctional Center in medical professional and mental health professional titles. Our unit has been working for the past 3 years to reach a fair agreement at the table with Dupage County. We continue to report to work to provide quality medical and mental health services to our patients at Dupage County Correctional Center. We are committed to our mission and believe a fair contract will allow us to attract and retain top-tier talent. We want the Dupage County Correctional Center to continue to be a vehicle for positive rehabilitation in our community, and we appreciate and value the role we play in ensuring that vision is met. We solicit your support at this time after various proposals to secure fair wages and treatment continue to be countered with proposed verbiage that reinforces favoritism, continued unfair labor practices, and attempts to decrease the benefits that are currently in place. We look forward to continued dialogue with your representatives and appreciate your support for a fair contract. Thank you for your time, and please have a very nice Thanksgiving season with your families. That's the end of the public comments.
Okay. Thank you very much. That concludes our public comment. We move on to the next order of business entitled Consent. Consent.
Second.
There's a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Zay. Aye. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski.
Aye.
LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. And Tornatore.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. On to the order of County Board. Member Ashley Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just briefly by way of update, you'll see item F on today's agenda is our first reading of the ad hoc committee to review county board rules recommended changes. I want to thank the members of the committee for putting in many months of work, as well as staff. I know Jason has spent a lot of time researching all of our peer counties' rules, as well as how their staff helps them enforce them. So I really appreciate everyone who's taken a look. I got some feedback last night, and so we'll make sure to be incorporating that before we have a second reading, which will be our next county board reading, and that's where we will officially hopefully make these changes. So on that note, I'll move on CBR 539-21, Resolution Appointments to Public Aid Committee.
And a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Selman.
Aye.
Tornatore. Zay.
Aye.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia.
Aye.
Hart. Krajewski.
Aye.
LaPlante. Ozog. Wachowski, Renahan, Rutledge,
Aye.
and Schwarzy.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move on CBR 536-21, resolution appointment of Grant Atkoff as a member of the county board of the ETSB.
Member of ETSB, there's been a motion and a second request for leave. Leave is granted. Member Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I yield item C to Member Zay.
Member
Thank
Zay.
you. Thank you, Member Selman. I move on CBR 537-21, the appointment of Ashley Selman as a member of the Emergency Telephone System Board.
Leave is granted. Member Selman.
Thank you. I move on CBR 534-21, a resolution of appointment of Brian D. Tegmeyer as a DUCOM ETSB member.
Leave is granted. Member Selman.
Thank you. I move on CBR 535-21, resolution appointment of Dolores R. Thames as the ACDC ETSB member.
Leave is granted. Member Selman.
Thank you. And finally, I move on CBR 540-21, resolution ad hoc committee to review county board rules recommended change, first reading.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Selman. A fine report. On to the order of finance, Member Liz Chaplin.
Good morning, Chairman. Thank you. I move approval of FIR 051421, resolution acceptance and appropriation of the interest earned on the investment and extension of time for the Dupage Animal Friends Foundation Coordinator Grant, $500.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin,
Aye.
Chavez, Covert, Desart, DeCiani, Eckhoff, Garcia,
Aye.
Hart, Krajewski,
Aye.
LaPlante, Ozog, Wachowski, Renahan, Rutledge, Schwarzy, Selman, Tornatore, and Zay.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move on FIR 051521, resolution acceptance and appropriation of interest earned on investment for the DuPage Animal Friends, $10,000.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
I move on FIR 051621, resolution acceptance and appropriation of additional funding for the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Workforce, $250,000.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Move on FIR 051921, resolution acceptance and appropriation of the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Trade Advancement Assistance Grant, $139,374.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Okay, I move on FIR 052321, resolution acceptance and appropriation of the DuPage Animal Friends Unrestricted Grant Company 5000 Accounting Unit, $50,300 as amended in finance.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Request for leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move on FIR 053021, acceptance and appropriation of the Low-Income Home Energy Assistance Plan, $1,747,629.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move on FIR 053321, resolution acceptance and appropriation of the Low-Income Household Water Assistance Program, amount of $1,640,808.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
I move on FIR 053821, resolution additional appropriation for the Special Service Area Number 37, York Center, $16,737.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move on FIR 054221, resolution additional appropriation for the General Fund Company 1,000, $6,300,000.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move on FIR 054321, resolution additional appropriation for the General Fund Company 1,000, Accounting Unit 1180, $802,861.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move on FIR 054421, resolution additional appropriation for the General Fund Company 1,000, Accounting Unit 1180, $315,857.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIR 053121, resolution acceptance of extension of time for low-income KIT Energy Program.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIR 051721, resolution authorization to close the Workforce Investment Act checking account at JP Morgan.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIR 054121, resolution placing names on payroll.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIR 054621, Resolution budget transfers 11/23/2021.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIR 054721, resolution various amendments to the DuPage County Employee Policy Manual.
Leave is granted.
I move on amendment FIR 0951B18, amendment to the contract between the county and the International Union of Operating Engineers, Local 150, for maintenance, equipment, vehicle maintenance, and ground groups covering 12/1/17 through 11/30/24.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. Amendment, I move on amendment FIR 001721A, ratification of side letter agreement between the DuPage County, the County of DuPage, the DuPage County Sheriff, and the Metropolitan Alliance of Police, Chapter 126.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIP 044321, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to Metro Insurance Services in the amount of $643,297.
Leave is granted.
And I move on FIO 011221, ordinance approval of employee compensation adjustments for 2022.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. And now we move on to budget resolutions and ordinances. And Chairman Corn, I would just like to echo your comments about the budget process. I thought it was, for my first budget process, I thought it was, as a finance chair, I thought it went really well. I appreciate working with you and Member Krajewski and all of the board members here that gave great input. So I agree. It was a really good.
I agree. It was a good collaborative effort.
It was very good. So thank you. So, okay, I'm going to take my breath. With that, I move on FIO 010021 ordinance, DuPage County 2021 tax levies for fiscal year 2022.
Been a motion and a second. We should take a roll call on this, I think. Mr. State's Attorney, yes, sir. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski.
Aye.
LaPlante. Ozog. Wachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatori. And Zay.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIO 01021, ordinance, County of DuPage, Century Hill Lighting, Tax Fund 2021 tax levy for fiscal year 2022.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIO 01021, ordinance, annual appropriation, ordinance for the County of DuPage, State of Illinois for the fiscal year period beginning December 1st, 2021 and ending November 30th, 2022. I do have to move to amend this.
Okay.
So I'll be moving to amend the original amount due to recommendations from staff based on the surplus revenue generated in 2021.
Okay.
So all of you should have received the proposed adjustments in your email yesterday, and you should also have a copy in front of you right now. As the chairman said, I'm very pleased to report that we plan to pay down 2 general obligation bonds early, which will free up $2 million for the general fund for the next 5 or 6 years, and will save over $300 in interest, something everyone here should be very proud of. So the first group of adjustments on the spreadsheet are all general fund adjustments and can be done with the additional $2 million in sales tax revenue from paying down the 2 general obligation bonds. The second and third group of adjustments are being proposed because of surplus revenue in 2021, but has to be reflected in the 2022 budget. So with that, I move to amend the following accounting units. Accounting unit 1001, account 40,000, proposed adjustment $2,026,000 for a total new adjustment of $46,602.414.
Wait a minute.
For 6 million, what did I say?
Yeah.
$46,602,414.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. I move, also we have accounting unit 1190 to account 53828. We are amending that $654,233 for a new amount of $4,069,233.
Yes.
We are Accounting Unit 1180 to account 53700, matching funds contributions. Proposed adjustment, $1,150,000, and increasing it to $1,453,000.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, accounting unit 4410, account number 50099. These are new program requests for personnel. We're just basically doing some house cleaning, and these will be reflected in the account below. So we move to account unit 4410, account 540, part-time help. We are increasing that by $587,947 for an increase of $781,571. And then accounting unit 4400, account 52100, IT equipment. We are proposed adjustment $87,500, new total $169,12.
Okay,
Then
very
in the
good.
a few more. The infrastructure fund, account unit 1161 to account 541204400, automotive equipment for the sheriff, $1,118,718 for an increase $2,008,718. And then we have our debt service fund, accounting unit 7005 to account 55000. We are increasing that $2,065,000 for a new total amount of $2,535,000. And then finally, accounting unit 7005 to account 55100. We are increasing that by $210,800 for a total increase of $312,200.
And that's the bond interest, correct?
Yes, that is the interest due to paying off the 2011 drainage bond.
Correct. Question?
Yes, question.
Member Dessart.
Yeah, I just have a question for the state's attorney. So, Member Chaplin made a motion and somebody else made a second to amend the ordinance. So now, is it appropriate for me to make a motion to approve as amended, or do we still need to take a vote on amending?
You should take the amendment first, and then you can
Gotcha.
move the
Okay.
underlying main
Thank
motion.
you.
Right. So we're going to
So
first
there was a
consider
motion
the
and a second to
amendment, and then
amend.
Yes.
we'll consider the ordinance FIO 0102-21 as amended. So there's been a motion and a second. Is there any questions about this? I think this was thoroughly discussed in finance and something we've been working on for a little bit here. So on the amendment, Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Dessart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski.
Aye.
LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore. And Zay.
Aye.
Okay, very nice. So now the ordinance as amended, Member Chaplin.
Okay, I move on FIO 01021, annual appropriation ordinance for the County of DuPage, State of Illinois, fiscal year 2021, ending on November 2022,
As amended.
as amended.
Okay, Mr. Clerk, there's been a motion and a second by Member Dessart. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Dessart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski.
Aye.
LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore. And Zay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move approval of FIO 010321, ordinance, annual appropriation ordinance for police records management systems from December 2021 to November 30th, 2022.
There's been a motion, a second, a request for leave. Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move on FIR 048121, resolution authorization to transfer funds to taxable general obligation bond, series 2010A and 2010B, debt service fund, company 7000, accounting unit 7000 for fiscal year 2022, and abate the 2021 tax levy for the taxable general obligation bond, series 2010 2010A and 2010B.
Okay, there's been a motion, a second, and a request for leave. Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move on FIR 048221, resolution abatement of the 2021 tax levy for the general obligation bonds.
Leave is granted. Member
Thank you.
Chaplin.
I move on FIR 048321, resolution abatement of the 2021 tax levy for the general obligation refunding bonds, Series 2015B, Company 7000, Unit 7071, in the amount of $1,464,143.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIR 048421, resolution abatement of the 2021 tax levy for the limited tax general obligation refunding bonds, courthouse project, Series 2016, Company 7000, Accounting Unit 7018, in the amount of $6,663,850.
Okay, for the record, there's been a motion, a second, a request for leave. Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move on FIR 048521, resolution authorization to transfer funds to the general obligation refunding bonds alternative revenue source stormwater project series 2016 debt service fund, Company 7000, Accounting Unit 7019, fiscal year 2022.
Leave is granted. Member Chaplin.
Thank you. I move on FIR 048621, resolution appropriation for the general obligation debt certificate series 2017 debt service company fund 7000, Accounting Unit 7020 for fiscal year 2022.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIR 048721, resolution appropriation of the general obligation limited tax certificates and indebtedness series 2009 debt service fund, Company 7000, Accounting Unit 7022, fiscal year 2022.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIR 048821, resolution appropriation for the special service area number 35, Lakes of Royce Renaissance Unlimited ad valorem tax bonds, Series 2012A, debt service fund, Company 7100, Accounting Unit 7500, fiscal year 2022.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIR 048921, resolution appropriation for the special service area number 37, York Center IEPA, loan debt service fund, Company 7100, Accounting Unit 7502 for fiscal year 2022.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIR 049021, resolution authorization to transfer general fund to tort liability fund, fiscal year 2022.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIR 049121, resolution authorization to transfer funds from the general fund to Dupage Care Center for fiscal year 2022.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIR 049321, resolution approval of fiscal year 2022 head count.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIR 049421, resolution compensation structure wage adjustment guidelines.
Leave is
Thank you. I
granted.
move on FIR 10421, ordinance 2021 tax levies for Board of Health operations, Board of Health municipal retirement, and Board of Health social security for fiscal year 2022.
It's been a motion and a second, a request for leave. Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move on FIO 010521, ordinance, annual appropriation ordinance for the Board of Health operations, Board of Health municipal retirement, Board of Health social security fund of DuPage County, State of Illinois for the fiscal year December 1, 2021, ending November 30th, 2022.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move approval of FIO 010621, ordinance, annual appropriation ordinance for the Emergency Telephone System Board, DuPage County, for the period of December 1, 2021, ending November 30th, 2022.
Leave is granted.
And finally, I move approval of the fiscal year 2022 financial plan.
Leave is granted. Thank you very much. That's the tedious work. Tedious work of approving a budget. Very nice. Thank you. Okay, moving right along from the budget and finance to animal services. Member Brian Krajewski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move on 20-21-1100, which is a transfer of funds from various accounts to account number 53090, which is other professional services, with the total amount being transferred $9,151.
There's been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Krajewski.
Aye.
Plant. Aye. Ozog. Aye. Pachowski. Aye. Renahan. Aye.
Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore. Zay. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. And Hart. Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Mr. Krajewski. On to the order of development, Sam Tornatore.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. Just for some clarification, the two items this morning are plan review contracts. Safe Built is our primary company that we're dealing with. TPI is a secondary company. If we need them, these are for as-needed basis, and all of the costs will be paid for by the applicants. I move approval of DCP 439-21, a recommendation for contract purchase to TPI Building Code Consultants for plumbing plan reviews.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll. Tornatore.
Aye.
Zay. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski.
Aye.
LaPlante. Ozog. Wachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. And Selman. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr.
Thank you,
Tornatore.
Mr. Chairman. I move approval of DCP 440-21, a recommendation for a contract purchase order to Safe Built Illinois LLC.
Leave is granted.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Tornatore. On to the Order of Economic Development, Member Amy Chavez.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. By way of committee update, I just want to thank the chairman for your work on, with the other Collier counties and Cook County in the Regional Economic Recovery Task Force. I also want to thank the support that we received from our own economic partners, primarily Choose Dupage, the Dupage Convention and Visitors Bureau, and of course WorkNet. They were all instrumental in contributing to that effort, and so I want to make sure that they're recognized and thanked as well.
Thank you.
So now I move on EDR 051821, a resolution for the approval and issuance of payments by DuPage County to trading providers through the Illinois Department of Commerce and Economic Opportunity Trade Adjustment Assistance Grant, intergovernmental agreement number 20661-006 in the amount of $31,381.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll. Chavez.
Aye.
Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski.
Aye.
LaPlante. Ozog. Wachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatore. Zay. And Chaplin. Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Member Chavez. We move on to the next order of business entitled Environmental, and that means Member Sheila Rutledge.
Good morning, Chairman. Thank you. No voting items today, but in lieu of, or for a committee update, first of all, I want to thank Member Zay for the reusable water bottles that he passed out this morning. Great suggestion. I'll also thank him as well for getting our water pitchers back so that we can decrease the amount of water bottles that flow out of this room. So I'm very appreciative of that. I have a stack of papers at the corner of my place here, and I'm going to ask the membership that if you would put any excess paper printed on this stack. My request to not print so many agendas is kind of falling on deaf ears, so I am looking to make a visual representation of how much paper we are wasting. Last week, the Tribune editorial talked about, despite grandiose Glasgow rhetoric, recycling is falling apart. So I'm going to direct everybody to remember that for the reduce, reuse, and recycle, the first word in that is reduce. Then reuse, last recycle. So let's all try to be more wary of the supplies that we are using that are not good for our environment. Thank you very much.
Okay, thank you very much. On to the order of ETSB, Member Greg Schwarzy.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. With regards to committee update, this month the ETSB approved a project to replace 11-year-old end-of-life, end-of-support radios for first responders in the ETSB DuPage Emergency Dispatch Interoperable Radio System. As part of this project, the IGA with DUCOM for radio maintenance was reviewed. This amendment maintains, the amendment we're going to vote on maintains a relationship, but alters the duties since a radio replacement contract provides a system manager for 3 years. So approval of this amendment will eliminate redundancy and is expected to reduce cost to ETSB during the years that the system manager is provided. And DUCOM's executive committee approved this amendment last week. So with that, I move to approve item ETSR 51021, the third amendment to the intergovernmental agreement between Dupage Public Safety Communications, which is DUCOM, and the County of DuPage, Illinois, on behalf of the Emergency Telephone System Board for the DuPage Emergency Dispatch Interoperable Radio System. And the total amount not to exceed $150,000, which is the new contract amount, $1,563,459.35.
It's been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Schwarzy.
Aye.
Selman. Tornatore. Zay. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski.
Aye.
LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. And Rutledge.
Aye.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Thank you, Member Schwarzy. On to the Order of Health and Human Services, Member Renahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I just, by way of committee update, the only thing I just wanted to make sure that we all really note item E, where we approved during finance, and I look forward to approving in the next few minutes as well, a permanent home for PADS and for our homeless residents. So I think what an accomplishment. I just wanted to note that. So I'll request, I guess I'll move to approve HHSR 052421 resolution IGA with Pace Suburban with the county community services for senior transportation, $96,386.
Been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Renahan.
Aye.
Rutledge. Schwarzy.
Aye.
Selman. Tornatore. Zay.
Aye.
Chaplin. Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski.
Aye.
LaPlante. Ozog. And Pachowski.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk.
Thank
Member
you.
Renahan, please.
I'm advised that B is to be pulled, so I'll move approval of HHSR 052621
Okay,
resolution.
so with leave of the
IGA.
body, we're going to take 52521 out of the record, out of the agenda with no objection. Please proceed, Member Renahan.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Chairman, then. I
Thank
approve, hello. I move approval of HHSR 052621 resolution for an IGA with PACE and DuPage County for paratransit services for veterans, $45,561.
Leave is granted. Member Renahan.
I move approval of HHSR 052821, a recommendation for approval of first modification for an emergency solutions grant for COVID with DuPage PADS, increasing funding by $775,000.
Leave is granted. Member Renahan.
Thank you. I move approval of HHSR 052921, recommendation for approval agreement with PADS in the amount of $5 million,
Can I just
including
make a
$3
really-
million in CDBG CARES and $2 million in ARPA, funding for purchase of an interim housing center project CDCV 21-03 and HHSR 052921.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second, and Member Chaplin seeking
Just wanted to,
recognition. Sure.
this is really a great project, and, we thank PADS, we thank Mary Keating, Health and Human Service Committee, Community Development Committee, Finance Committee, but, really, this would not have been possible without the help of our Congressman Caston, Foster, Chris Morthy, and Congresswoman Lauren Underwood. They worked very hard to get us the CARES Act money and now to get us the ARPA funds. So I just wanted to, make sure that everybody was aware that that's where, without that, we wouldn't be able to do that. So just want to point that
Yeah,
out.
I think you're right. I think the pandemic is what
Yep.
really pointed
Yep.
out this real dire need.
Absolutely.
And so when the Congress came forward with all this federal money and help, what more important area to focus some of that money on homeless people in DuPage. So,
Thank
yeah,
you.
that's been our goal from the beginning, and so I'm glad that we're getting there. So thank you. Member Renahan?
Did we, okay, leave has been granted?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah. There's been a motion and a second request for leave. Leave is granted. Member Renahan.
I move approval of HHSR 052721 resolution, approval of issuance payments by the county to energy assistance providers for LIHEAP in the amount of $1,427,813.
Leave is granted. Member Renahan.
Move approval of HHSR 053221, resolution approval of issuance of payments Dupage County to water assistance providers for low-income water assistance, $1,345,463.
Leave is granted. Member Renahan.
Move approval HHSP 043521, recommendation for approval of contract purchase order for People's Resource Center for food, diapers, adult diapers, household cleaning supplies for low-income residents of DuPage County, January 1st, 2021 through December 31, 2021, not to exceed $30,000.
Leave is granted.
Move approval HHSP 043621, a contract purchase order to Cimbria for community wellness partner and wellness outpatient center staffing and management for the care center, November 30, 2021 through November 30, 2022, not to exceed $65,000.
Leave is granted.
Move approval of HHSP 043821, a contract purchase order to Cimbria for physical, occupational, speech, and respiratory therapy and consulting for the care center, November 30th, 2021 through November 30th, 2022, not to exceed $990,500.
Leave is granted.
Move approval HHSP 043721, emergency procurement for food services as secondary supplier for the care center and campus cafe, November 24th, 2021 through May 31st, 2022, not to exceed $50,000.
Leave is granted.
And I move approval of change order HHSP 0005A-21, amendment for outreach community services to increase encumbrance by $15,000.
Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Renahan. On to the order of judicial public safety. Member Renahan.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move approval of JPSP 042621, approval of contract purchase order for the Health Department to provide mental health services to probationers for probation and court services, December 1st, 2021 through November 30th, 2022, not to exceed $208,000.
There's been a motion and a second. Mr. Deputy Clerk, please call the roll.
Renahan.
Aye.
Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatori. Zay.
Aye.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski.
Aye.
LaPlante.
Aye.
Ozog. And Pachowski.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Renahan.
Thank you. I move approval of JPSP 042721, recommendation for approval of contract orders, purchase order to Quicket Solutions to provide professional services and software for e-ticket application for the Circuit Court Clerk, December 1st, 2021 through November 30th, 2026, $1,234,000.
Leave is granted. Member Renahan.
Thank you. I move approval of JPSP 042821, contract purchase order to Galls LLC for new ballistic and stab vests for sheriff's deputies, December 1st, 2021 through November 30th, 2022, not to exceed $125,000.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move approval of JPSP 042921, a contract with Allied Universal Technology for security system maintenance and repair for the county campus, 3 years, December 1st, 2021 through November 30th, 2024, not to exceed $142,080.
Leave is granted.
And I move approval of JPS 01011021, enabling ordinance for the sheriff to patrol Somerset Plaza for traffic control.
Leave is granted.
Thank you.
Thank you, Member Renahan. A fine report. On to the order of legislative. Member Dawn Desart.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to let everybody know that the Legislative Committee today at 2 o'clock has been canceled because I could not be guaranteed a quorum. And so we had scheduled our federal lobbyist, Bill Viney, to talk about the infrastructure bill. And I just received notice from Cheryl Marquet that Bill Viney has agreed to come back and talk to the Legislative Committee on December 14th at 2 o'clock. So if you have questions regarding the infrastructure bill, everybody, not just committee members, everybody is welcome to attend on December 14th.
Would he be here in person on the 14th?
He will be here via Zoom, I do believe. Isn't that correct, Cheryl? Nick is shaking his head, yes.
Okay.
I also want to let people know that something a little bit unusual. The General Assembly has scheduled a condensed spring legislative session that will begin on January 4th, so it'll begin earlier than they normally begin. Then the regular adjournment will be on April 8th instead of May 31st. So as a result, we need to kind of get our Springfield legislative agenda together earlier for 2022. So if you have any ideas, this is for the board or for staff or for directors, heads of departments. If you have legislation that you would like DuPage County to champion, if you could get that to Cheryl Marquet and/or myself by December 15th, that would really be appreciated. I mean, we're flexible, we're nimble, we could add legislation
Right.
later, but we want to get our first core agenda together. So we need the information by December 15th. Thank you,
That's
Chairman.
wise. That's very wise. Okay, well, thank you, Member Dessart. That concludes your report. Very good. On to the order of Public Works, Member Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. By way of committee update, I want to thank in particular the leadership and staff of Facilities Management, Public Works, Procurement, and Finance. They have worked very hard and really expeditiously to get item C in front of us today. The ARPA Act was only passed in March, and here we are with a contract that's gone on the street and is ready for our approval today. And I really appreciate their nimbleness and how hard they've worked to get these this contract in particular together. And I expect we'll see more of the same in the near future. So thank you very much. I move for approval of PWP 043021, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Standard Equipment Company to purchase a Vector 2100 Plus combination sewer cleaner for Public Works for a total contract amount not to exceed $485,665,000.
It's been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Ozog.
Yes.
Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge. Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatori. Zay.
Aye.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Dessart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski.
Aye.
And LaPlante.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for approval of PWP 043121, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Altor for Industries to purchase a mini hydraulic excavator for Public Works for a total contract amount not to exceed $78,470 per Sourcewell cooperative contract.
Leave is granted.
Thank you. I move for approval of FMP 043221, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Helm Mechanical for the JLB HVAC improvement project for facilities management for the period December 1st, 2021 through June 30th, 2023, for a total contract amount not to exceed $5,656,850 per lowest responsible bid.
Okay, there's been a request for leave. Leave is granted. Very nice.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move for approval of FMCO 050921, amendment to the county contract 5133001 serve issued to Global Water Technology to furnish and deliver water treatment chemicals as needed for county facilities for facilities management, to increase the contract in the amount of $10,000, resulting in the need for county board approval, and a new contract total not to exceed $35,000, an increase of 40%.
There's been a motion and a second. Request for leave. Leave is granted. Very nice. A fine report, Member Ozog. On to the order of technology, Member Ashley Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move on TEP 441-21, recommendation for the approval of a contract purchase order to IBM for OS software and support maintenance. This is a contract from December 1st, 2021 through November 30th, 2022, a total of $111,171.72, and this is sole source.
Okay, there's been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Selman.
Aye.
Tornatori. Zay. Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Dessart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski.
Aye.
LaPlante. Ozog. Pachowski. Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
And Schwarzy.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Member Selman.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I move on TEP 442-21, recommendation for the approval of a contract to Hewlett-Packard Enterprise Company for VMware licensing and insight controls. This is a contract from December 1st, 2021 through November 30th, 2022, for a total of $46,551 bought via the Governmental Joint Purchasing Act.
The request for leave. Leave is granted. Thank you, Member Selman. Another fine report. On to the order of transportation, Member Don Pachowski.
Good morning, Mr. Chairman. I would move to approve DTR 0520-21, a resolution for an intergovernmental agreement between the Illinois State Toll Highway Authority and the County of DuPage and the Village of Bensenville for improvements along the Elgin O'Hare Western Access Roadway and bridge ramp construction, Bensenville water main for fire suppression system right-of-way fence installation, O'Hare ramp
to I-390 construction at no county cost.
There's been a motion and a second. Mr. Clerk, please call the roll.
Pachowski.
Aye.
Renahan. Rutledge.
Aye.
Schwarzy. Selman. Tornatori. Zay.
Aye.
Chaplin.
Aye.
Chavez. Covert. Desart. DeCiani. Eckhoff. Garcia. Hart. Krajewski.
Aye.
LaPlante. And Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Clerk. Mr. Pachowski.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Move to approve DTR 0521-21, a resolution for a local agency agreement between the County of DuPage and Illinois Department of Transportation to improve 75th Street from Millbrook Drive to Green Road for an estimated county cost of $1,529,930.
Leave is granted.
Move to approve DTR 0522-21, a resolution for a local agency agreement between the County of DuPage and Illinois Department of Transportation to improve 87th Street at Woodward Avenue for an estimated cost of $2,132,000.
Leave is granted.
Move to approve DTP 0433-21, recommendation for approval of a contract purchase order to Gasaway Distributors, Inc. for the purchase of liquid calcium chloride as needed for Division of Transportation for a contract not to exceed $48,800.
Leave is granted.
And lastly, Mr. Chairman, I move to approve DTP 0434-21, recommendation for approval of a contract to Wilco, Inc. to furnish and deliver automated lubricants as needed for the Division of Transportation for a contract amount not to exceed $55,000.
Leave is granted. Thank you very much, Mr. Pachowski. That concludes all our committee reports. We move on to the next order of business entitled Discussion. We're familiar with this. We're obligated under the Public Act 990646, pension obligation projections, to discuss. Anyone seeking recognition? Seeing none, hearing none, we move on to the next order of business entitled Old Business. Old Business. Anyone seeking recognition to discuss something that happened in the past? Mr. Zay.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I want to thank Sheila and Member Chaplin. Did bring the water bottles from the Water Commission. I think, people don't realize how lucky we are to have the Great Lakes around here. I think we're the envy of everywhere else in the country. I think what we're seeing is that the Illinois State Water Survey came out last year, and the deep aquifers in Illinois are starting to dry up. So I think you're going to see even more dependence on Lake Michigan water coming out of Illinois communities, and we're lucky to have it. So use the water bottle. There's a reason for the size of the water bottle too, because they're 32 ounces. You're supposed to drink 8-ounce glasses of water, so you really should drink 2 of these a day. Ooh. So pace yourselves, in there. But again, I think we need to get that out there. We see how much people buy bottled water out there, and we go to stores and see people buying cases in the recycling, but they don't realize how good the water is coming out of their tap here in DuPage County. And we need to get that and make a program, educational program, to let people know that.
Yeah, very nice. Very nice, Mr. Zay. Anyone else? Member Chaplin.
Well, just to follow up on that, Jim, we did meet, staff and I did meet on that, and hopefully in the spring we plan to bring something forward with that. So, yeah, I appreciate the...
I have more water. I have more money than you guys. So.
Yeah, just want to chime in on that. So thank you.
And the water level in the lake's really high now, so we can afford to give some more water to other communities, right?
We can, yep.
Yeah. You've done a marvelous job there, Jim Zay. Anyone else on the order of old business? Old business. Anyone else seeking recognition? Seeing none, hearing none, we move on to the order entitled New Business. New Business. Looking forward. Member Desart.
Thank you. I just want to let everybody know that Member Garcia and I met with some superintendents, social workers, principals from schools. And, our kids are from elementary through high school, through college really, are having a tough time. We've seen increased in death by suicide, increased students fighting in schools, increased opium overdoses. And so coming forward in 2022, Member Garcia and I will be putting together a plan to help all of the schools within our county. But specifically, I just wanted to say, with Thanksgiving here, Hanukkah coming, Christmas coming, we're idealized to kind of expect perfection for our holidays. And I just want for all of us to be on notice, to watch those who may be struggling a little bit and to reach out to them. And if you are struggling, to reach out to us or to others who can help you, because there is help available.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anyone else on the order of new business? Member Ozog.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. To piggyback on Member Dessart's comments, as a former 8-year school board member, I want everyone to, as much as possible, go to your school board meetings, support our school board members. It's a very difficult time right now, and they are facing a lot of opposition from forces that are, a lot of this is misinformation, and our school boards are elected by us. They're generally parents and members of our community. So I ask you to all think about what they're going through right now and to support them whenever possible. Thank you.
Okay. Anyone else? Member Chaplin, followed by Member Garcia.
Thank you, Chairman. I just wanted to say, it's been kind of a coming back from COVID, we're now seeing everybody in person, which is really nice. I really enjoy coming back and seeing people. And I just wanted to wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving. I think all of our families, we made it through COVID. I think everybody's doing pretty well. I think we all fared pretty well. So just, thankful that we're all here and that, hopefully have a better next year. But I just want to tell everybody happy Thanksgiving.
Lots to be thankful for, yes. Member Garcia.
Well, she took the words right out of my mouth. I wanted to thank everybody here, and I want to wish the chair and the board and all the staff a very merry, way ahead of myself. Very happy Thanksgiving. We count you as one of our blessings, and know that we are all thankful for all of you being here, for all of us. And I am thankful that I live in one of the best, if not, it is the best county in the nation.
There you go. Absolutely. Did I see Member DeCiani? Were you seeking recognition?
Acknowledge that Officer Kalewski from Bensonville was out of Loyola and in rehab, and off to the best situation he could possibly be in, given what happened to him. So that's our prayers, I think, have been answered from that standpoint.
Very nice.
So we wish him and his family the best.
Absolutely. Thank you, Member DeCiani. I'm very attentive on that issue. That's great. So I am reliably informed that we do not have anything to come before us on executive session. So I will entertain a motion to adjourn. There's been a motion and a second to adjourn this meeting to Tuesday, December 14th at 10 a.m. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed, nay. The ayes have it. Meeting adjourned.